Welcome to week 37 of the Happy Stitch project. This week we are learning a whipped wheel. You're going to need an air erasable pen or something similar. It just basically needs to disappear. And just draw a little circle on your fabric with 5 spokes of the wheel, because we're going to stitch over those, and that's what's going to provide the basis of this stitch. I'm using 3 strands here. Just tied a knot in the end and trim the excess. Now what we need to do first is stitch over those lines to create the spokes of the wheel. So I'm going to come up through the centre and then go to the outer edge, and then when I do the next one I'm going to go to the outer edge and work back inwards. I just find that easier. It always feels easier to go down through the middle rather than come up through the middle. That's what I feel personally, but do whatever works for you. Make sure that you're just kind of making them as even as possible. Obviously, if you want to trace them, I did do some templates for this in week, whatever it was that we did, woven wheel. It's basically the same thing that we're starting with there. So go back and have a look at that. Those will be available on my blog. Let's get the last one in. Right, there we go. So we can get started now. Now I'm just going to come up to the right of one of the spokes, really close to the middle. There we go. And I'm going to thread my needle under that spoke and come round back over the top to the right. Okay. Now I'm going to go weave my needle underneath that spoke. Move that out of the way so you can see, and then go under the next one. So we went just under that first one the first time, but now when we're weaving, you go back under, sorry, and then under the next 2. You see what I'm doing there? So under that one I've just come back through, and then under the next one as well. So you're going through 2 every time. So the only time that you thread your needle underneath one is that first time, just to get yourself in the right place. For the rest of the time you're going to thread back over and under 2. So back over and under 2, like that. What you need to do each time is make sure that your thread is moving towards the centre. So my needle isn't going through the fabric at all at this point now. It was just those initial spokes that we stitched where I went through the fabric. The rest of it is done on the top. A bit like when we did the woven wheel as well. You just need to make sure that your thread is moving towards the middle, and basically as you move around it will all gather in the middle and it'll gradually work outwards, just like we did with the woven wheel. But what you end up with the whipped wheel is a slightly different effect. So because we're wrapping the thread around and then under, it creates like a raised sort of star effect on top of the circle. It's really, really pretty. I mean, you know, if you follow this project throughout the years so far, you'll know that I do everything by eye. So mine are never quite 100% central. But I kind of like that. That's part of the joy of it for me, really. I'm just going to use my left hand there just to make sure that's going in the middle. And you can see now, look, it's starting to build up a little bit. So you just need to make sure that you remember that you're going to come out through the left underneath, you're going to go back underneath that one and under the next one as well. I hope that's making sense to you. I find it easier to turn the hoop around, as you can see. It does make you a little bit dizzy sometimes. Don't do these when you're really tired. You can see that effect building up there. It's really lovely. It's like a little raised bit on top. So if you're looking to just add a different texture to something, then this is a really, really nice way to do it. We tend to see the woven wheels more because of, you know, obviously when you think of embroidery, often you think of florals, and they're so beautiful, aren't they? If you haven't had a go at those yet, go back and have a little go, because they're really fun. But the whipped wheel you don't tend to see quite as much, and I think it would actually work really nice, just, you know, to give a different effect with the florals. Right, I'm speeding things up here. There's no way I can actually stitch this fast. That would be good if I could, but I can't. But I just thought, you've seen enough of me going round and round, let's just speed things up a bit. So you've got to just keep going until you get a bit further out. I'm just going to put the last few stitches in here at normal time, just so you can see me doing that. So the thread underneath has created that lovely pattern it looks like satin stitch with bullion knots on top of it actually, doesn't it? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to my main YouTube channel and have a look for those videos, bullion knots and satin stitch. Okay, now just to finish off, all you need to do is just bring your thread through the fabric at a point over one of those spokes there, and that looks nice and neat. Isn't that lovely? It's really pretty. The pen will disappear, so that will have a nicer effect once that's gone. But obviously I'm not going to sit and wait for that to disappear for now. Just tie a knot at the back and then trim any of the excess close to the knot. And there we go. That's our whipped wheel for week 37. I can't wait to see yours.